Lightroom, I got a bone to pick, man. Why is it that the color mixer is only in the global adjustments and not in the masking? Masking has been here long enough to where I feel like you could have been working on that, you know? Listen, today I got a video where I take this photo that has all these different variations of blue and orange and yellow, and I show you kind of how to get around not having the color mixer tab in the masking section of Lightroom using color ranges. So if you're in Lightroom and you're really looking to add tons of color contrast and liven up your photos through color and really separate different hues until they add the color mixer into Lightroom in the masking section, this is how you got to do it. So let's dive in. So I'm going to start off with just the basic adjustments here. Do some contrast. Maybe add a little bit of brightness, pull the highlights down, shadows up. Once we got a spot that we're liking here, I'm gonna jump into the mask panel. And here's what we wanna do. Since we can't do the color mixer inside masking, in other words, what I wanna do is I wanna take this area, just this area, and I want to play with the greens, but I don't want to play with the greens over here. If the color mixer were in the masking section, all I would have to do here to affect just this area of water is do a radial mask in this section, and then just use the green or aqua slider and adjust the water right here, and I wouldn't affect the water or the sky back here or the trees or anything. But since that's not an option, I'm gonna have to do it a little bit differently. What I'm gonna have to do is pick a color range, and I'm gonna select that, and you'll see it selects all this stuff over here. So what I can do is come in here, click inside, subtract. Basically, I'm gonna subtract this area, but what we can do is invert this. So now I'm subtracting everything but this area. So this is just our whole selection right here. You with me? Stay with me. So now we have just these blue, green, this hue right here in the color range. We just have that selected in this region. And when we want to do basically the color mixer adjustments inside the mask, we just have, the light and the color tools. So for the hue, we can adjust it in a few different ways. There's the temperature, the tint, the hue, and then the colorize. We have obviously the saturation slider, and then these luminance adjustments. So what I want to do is come into the colorize and give it like a nice blue, something like that. Whoops. Yeah, something around here. And holding shift, I can just pull the saturation. And then to take some of that nasty green that was in the raw photo, I can desaturate from there. And now look at that, we're getting just that nice blue. And that might be too blue, so I'm gonna pull it a little bit towards aqua and maybe pull the saturation a little bit down right there. So mask off and mask on. And that's looking really good. So same type of deal. I'm gonna pick a color range and pick this whole back ocean area and subtract this region, which we just affected. This time I don't have to invert it because I don't want to pick this. Now I'm going to go ahead and refine this, just say pulling this back so that I'm not affecting those rocks. And then I can do another subtraction up in here in the sky. Whoops. And just subtract the sky out of there. Yeah, just like that. And then one more. I'm gonna subtract right here because I don't want to pick the sky in this area where it's a little bit below this horizon either. Cool. So now we've just selected the rest of the ocean, the background ocean, and I want to separate it from here. So I'm gonna pull the luminance down a bit, nothing crazy, and then make it even more blue. Again, nothing too crazy, and maybe desat it a little bit. So, on and off. And now we have this nice kind of darker ocean that leads into this little pocket where the waterfall is, and the water turns a really, really nice, cool color. All without the color mixer. Because you can do it all in masks. It's just like, please just add the color mixer to make it so much easier. So now, similarly, if I want to just affect this sand right here, and I don't want to affect the cliff face, what I'm going to have to do is first off pick the color range, and you see it picked freaking everything, and come down, refine that mask. Yeah, I'm going to pull it literally all the way down. Maybe just a little bit up so that I don't get, or so that I do get this spot. And then for this one, I'm going to subtract just with the brush the cliff faces. So there you go. Now we have a pretty solid selection of just the sand down here. And since we don't have the color mixer tab inside the masking area, I gotta play with all this stuff to get what I want. So maybe I brighten it up a little bit, warm it up a little bit. Maybe I pull a little bit of magenta in there, saturate it up, make that sand look real nice. So now before and after, looking good. So if I want to just affect this little cliff area here and not this beach, I'm gonna have to do another color range selection and then refine it. Again, if they just were to add the color mixer tab, basically I could just come in with a brush in this whole area, and then just pick like the yellow, the orange, and just drag the sliders. But instead I got to do this whole color range, and it's a little bit difficult. So enough, let's go ahead and do it. Color range, and then subtract out this beach. Just going quick with it, subtracting out the beach. There's some of these tree areas that I don't want to affect here. And it's fine that I'm affecting this stuff here too. That is affectable for what I want to do. And basically I'm just gonna pull them back a little bit. Maybe bring them on the hotter side here on the red. So now look at this. So masks before and after, and you see all of the kind of color separation that we've done, that we're able to do in the masking area. It would just be a whole lot easier if the color mixer were in the mask. So instead of doing all these color range selections, we could just do a radial, pick the aqua, a radial or a linear, pick the blue, pick the orange, pick the yellow, pick the green. You know, it would just be that much easier. And now one more mask. I'm gonna pick the sky, and I'm gonna subtract out just a little bit right here so that it's not picking the ocean. And then I'm just gonna pull the sky a little bit down and add a little bit of green in there, because that's really how you get that nice California sky. Some green and maybe just a little bit of warmth, and saturate it a bit. That starts to look really neat. So there you have it. Maybe I darkened it a little bit too much. Pull that up. So when I'm thinking about adding contrast to photos, I'm not just talking about the light, I'm talking about the color. And when the color mixer is global, I couldn't do what I did here. If I wanted to affect the blues just in this area of the shallow water, and I slid this blue slider, it's going to change all the blues. Look at what it's doing to the sky and the ocean in the back. The aqua too. Like, it changes everything. There's no way to subtract areas from the color mixer tab when it's in this global section. So that's why it just needs to be in the masking area. This little bar, just pull it down and just copy and paste this whole thing in there, please. please do it. It's not that hard. I don't know anything about coding. It might be hard, but please, I'm begging you. It would just make things, you know, it would just make things good. And while you're adding that color mixer into the masks, just go ahead and add the color grading tab too. Like, come on, let's just, all of these things here in this section, let's just go ahead and add to the masking section because, you know, why not? Capture One can do it. Come on, Lightroom, catch up. So let's do a before and after because we gotta. Here is our before and here's our after. So we're able to do amazing stuff here in the masking tab. It just takes a whole lot more work than it could. So I beg you, Lightroom, please add the color mixer into the masking tab. And that's all I got for you today. So if you liked the video, make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Stay tuned for the next one. I will see you next week. Peace.